Welcome to the Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 edition of Weather to Watch. All right, here's what we're watching for. Generally, it's a colder pattern that we're looking to in the central, eastern, southern U.S., not so much out west. And it's not a really sustained push of Arctic air, but it is the coldest air of the season, certainly. And whenever that type of air moves its way southward, you're always looking for the storm track to be on the edge of that to see if any winter precipitation is possible. And there are two weather systems worth watching over the time period. And these videos are never really going to go past day 7 because the skill level really starts to tank. And more speculation the further out you go with weather, of course. But general trends sometimes can be nailed fairly well. So let's take a look at things. We'll just start with the overall picture here in the U.S. This afternoon. There's a visible satellite loop, and what you'll see several features here. There's a small clipper system moving through Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. Most of that's in Iowa and Illinois, actually. We have a departing low pressure center north and northeast of Maine. That's on its way out. The flow behind that is causing still lake effect snows to occur in that area. We'll take a closer look at that. And there is some moisture coming in through Texas, although it's trying to move north, but it's actually getting shunted quite a bit to the east. So this system here is not able to really tap into that particular area of Gulf moisture, but the next one will do a better job of doing that. And in the northwestern U.S., we have a surge of moisture. The rain isn't particularly heavy. It isn't getting the full atmospheric river effect on this one, but it happens plenty in the winter up there, already has, and I have no doubt that they will get into that pattern here before the winter is over. Here's a visible satellite now with a 500 millibar flow. 500 millibars is just that middle point that so many meteorologists talk about in the troposphere, where all the density and the weather of the air really is. And it's a good sort of general kind of trend, kind of the flow of things to look at. It's not the true jet stream level, but it's used, actually I think it's used really well. The little X's you see on here, by the way, are disturbances. So there's that system in Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. Little systems are moving around the base of the larger low up into the northeastern U.S. Another little small system working its way through northern Minnesota as we speak. So the general flow here is for cooler air, no doubt about it. We have a large trough of low pressure like this. Generally speaking, cool air is encouraged to come back down on the western side of such a feature. Let's go to the northeast. If you've never seen lake effect snow squalls on a radar loop, they're fascinating, long fingers of extremely intense snow. It could be a foot or more of snow in one county and be sunny the next county over in these types of scenarios. It's really kind of interesting. Something I'd like to experience, maybe a bucket list of weather for me. Anyway, that's going on quite vigorously on both lakes, a little bit more on Lake Ontario probably, when this little feeder band can be seen stretching all the way over into Connecticut and Massachusetts and even parts of Rhode Island. So pretty intense, and these little symbols in here are, if it's two little snowflakes next to each other, it's light snow. If it's a pyramid, 3 snowflakes, it's moderate. If it's a diamond, it's heavy snow. And I've seen all 3 of those pass here. Again, if one of those little bands doesn't hit an observing station, you're probably not going to see the full observation of what's actually happening underneath there, but radar is doing a pretty good job at depicting that. We also have that little clipper system here in Iowa and Illinois. That's all snow, and that continues to move off to the kind of east-southeast. In fact, on the surface map, you can kind of see where that system is. It's just a series of fronts with a warm front and a cool front. So another reinforcing shot of cold air coming in. This one will have longer legs and extend a large ridge of cooler air all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So that has implications for the storm after the first one we're going to talk about. That's coming up next week, Tuesday time frame through Thursday. I'll show you some maps on that here coming up in just a second. As far as current advisories, we really don't have a whole lot yet considering what's coming, but I think they will be extended and created here maybe even as early as tonight. This is being recorded on Thursday, but right now it's just a winter storm watch here in these counties in Kansas, winter weather advisories for the snow for that clipper system in Iowa and parts of Illinois. This is winter storm warnings for these lake effect snow squalls on Lakes Ontario and also Erie. That's it. In fact, all the advisories are winter related, nothing on the spring or summer side here yet. So let's take a look at a series of maps. We're going to use the GFS forecast model, okay, just for ease and convenience here. We're going to focus in on this first storm that's crossing the central U.S. By 6 p.m. Friday, not much is happening yet. We're still looking at this ridge of cold air extending down into the U.S. enough to make the leading edge of this storm we're going to talk about freezing precipitation. And then we just go advance 24 hours to 6 p.m. Saturday, and this is when it starts to break out. All the lighter colors, first of all. So this isn't really heavy at first. But the blue is snow. This is a typical ladder of winter precipitations. Green to this orange color, which is freezing rain, to this purplish color, which is sleet, and then finally snow. And it's all about stacking cold air in the atmosphere, warm air aloft. That's what produces these precipitation types. If we move ahead to Sunday morning, this becomes quite active with a low pressure cyclogenesis over north central Oklahoma, southern Kansas, and it causes this precipitation shield to bow because the warm air is getting wrapped up around that. So yeah, so Missouri and Kansas win the prize for most colors. And so it's a tier of precipitation, and I'm a forecaster that lives in southwest Missouri, and I'll be doing a separate video on that for those of you who know who I am. It's the heads up weather, and I'll talk a little more detail about this. But if you look at this, you see that while it does start as light winter precipitation, the bulk of this, at least initially on the warm side, is probably going to be rain for the majority of the Ozarks, by the way. And then we move ahead, and there's backlash snow in Missouri on 6 p.m., so Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, that's going on. This right here, according to the Storm Prediction Center, could produce severe weather. Their Day 4 outlook has that area outlined. Might be extended more to the north and east by tomorrow when they reissue that outlook. So this is the main system. Certainly this bubble of high pressure actually will make it down into the central U.S. So if you want your coldest overnight lows, you want the centers of the highs, not the ridge, to actually get down into where you're thinking the cold air will be, so you get radiational cooling, still conditions, clear skies, and that's going to happen. I will show you a series of maps here at the end. If we keep advancing this, then this thing moves by 6 p.m. Monday almost completely out over the Atlantic with just some leftover snows in the Appalachians. And pretty minor stuff occurring over the central Rockies, although this is the beginning of the next system. So let's move on to that. This is a loop. It's just easier to do Tuesday through Thursday. You can see snow starting to break out in Texas here. And then this system spreads through the deep south with a layer of wintry precipitation. That same kind of step ladder, only not as well defined with this one. And this far out, you know, there's a lot of room for this storm to go north or south still by several hundred miles. So I wouldn't put a lot of, it's just hard to put a lot of faith in something this far out. But the general trend, I think, is real. And you can also see, like I said, that high right there settles right over Kansas and Missouri by the time we get to those mornings, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, even parts of Thursday morning. If we take a look at the temperature maps, these are not exactly the lows, but pretty close. So that purplish color is getting into the single digits here Monday morning. These are below zero readings up here. And then we go Tuesday morning, the cold air spreads a little more south. And now we got these single digits, maybe a few pockets of negative. It looks like maybe Wichita's down to -2 on a Tuesday morning. A really cold Arctic air up here with these -20s, even close to -30 in southern Canada. And then by Wednesday morning, the center of that high pressure right here is causing the coldest overnight lows to happen with, again, some of those sub-zero readings extending from Kansas, southern Nebraska, into central and southern Missouri. Thanks for watching my weather review. I publish these about 2 or 3 times a week. Remember to like and subscribe this channel for all of my content. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video.